and 789. Read all about it. 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 5, 4.
I don't have to clap.
Hear ye, hear ye.
There we go.
Nashville news coming to you live from Tennessee, y'all.
Yep.
It's all the news that you can understand. Why am I making fun of Tennessee? I love it here.
Good commitment. We just got back from the Country Music Hall of Fame, which is a museum.
It's a museum of a music that's a museum. No, it's very alive. I mean, country music, when I was a kid, was just like growing up in New York, you didn't listen to it. And then as a teenager, it was all about rock. I rejected every other form. And I think, honestly, you dating a woman from the South has made me kind of get interested in music because you've gotten more interested in country music.
Well, yeah, but as we saw this amazing exhibit that's there. They have rotating exhibits, and this one was actually about Los Angeles.
Right.
So it was all about the Flying Burrito Brothers and, Neil Young, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Graham
the Byrds.
Parsons.
Yeah, Graham Parsons, huge influence. As the guy who tried to bring country at that time, he partnered up with Emmylou Harris. But his big thing was like, you guys got to incorporate country, the instruments, the heart-tugging songs and stuff, and that songwriting.
The harmonic leads, more than one person singing a lead.
Yeah. So,
and obviously the instruments, they started doing steel guitars.
Yeah. So we've always been into Buffalo, Springfield, and all those people,
right.
who were doing that. And so, but yeah, leaning into it a little more for sure. And tonight we're going to the Ryman again. And seeing Jason Isbell. But we were at the Ryman last night.
That was unbelievable.
To see Wheeler Walker Jr. What a band.
What a band. The band was, here's the thing I loved about it is the last time I've seen him 3 times. The last time I saw him, the music was so fucking loud and the mix was so bad that you could not hear the lyrics. And it's like, this is all about the lyrics.
Yeah.
And this time, the sound in the Ryman is as good as any concert hall I've ever heard.
It's incredible.
It's got wooden ceilings,
Yeah.
and it's just perfect.
Church, we sat in pews.
Yeah, you sit in pews.
It was great.
And there was a black guy behind me singing every word to every song, which
You
shocked me.
said at one point, the guy behind you was a little like every lyric, and you turn around and you're like, I was not expecting to see a black guy.
Did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
And there was it was just fun, and the people we were sitting with. I don't know how much John and Pam. I guess John knows his music pretty well, right?
Oh yeah, he knows it pretty well.
But Pam was her head down. She was laughing so hard at the lyrics.
What about the woman who ran down the aisle, the center aisle?
Big tits flopping out. She ran down the center aisle right at Wheeler Walker and flashed him, and then turned around and walked back up the aisle again.
Yeah.
Isn't that every musician's dream?
I think she works there.
Yeah.
No.
She's on the tour.
That is every musician's dream, but I couldn't believe that. Like I was like, I saw some side action. I'm like, wait, is that what I think is going on?
Yeah. It
sure
was pretty sweet. And and there was a fight up front. There was some bouncers throwing a guy out. And it was such a southern redneck thing. Like the bouncers were big and they were tough looking dudes. And they approached him. I saw them talking to him for a while. They put their hand on his shoulder. One of them started pushing him out, and the guy pulled out his phone and started videotaping it. And then he fucking takes a swing at the security guard. Security guard ducks and just grabs him by the shoulder and leads him out like, this is just another night.
Yeah. And then, it's Ben Hoffman who created Wheeler Walker Jr. And I then texted him after to thank him, and his parents, these conservative, they're not politically.
Should you be giving this away, or people know this?
No, people know this. And they're like, really buttoned up. His dad's a doctor, and his mom, I think she's the owner of a knitting store all in Lexington, Kentucky.
No kidding.
Yeah, but so buttoned down, you know what I mean? And she does all these, liberal causes and stuff there. But anyway, and there they are, beaming with pride, more pride than for their doctor son. And he's up there just talking about licking bush.
Eating pussy, sucking cock, and kicking ass. That's my favorite song.
Sucking dick.
Sucking dick. Yeah, because
the black guy knew the right word.
Well, what's great is that like his audience at face value is a bunch of rednecks, you know, and you assume are conservative and all that. And then he slides it in between all these songs that talk about tits and getting fucked and all that is a thing about him sucking a guy's dick. And he kind of slides it in there.
Sometimes it's not even sliding it in there, so to speak. It's one of his songs. It's a big one. It's about end of the night when the pickings get sort of thin because it's too late. And then it comes down to which one of you queers is going to suck my dick. And all these seemingly rednecks are singing along. It's the name of the song.
Everybody's singing along. And then the new album is really great. And there's a pot anthem on it, or is that
no? That's the previous. That's a previous album. Yeah. But all right. So he texts back. So we mentioned. So Jason Isbell does a 10-night kind of stand in his hometown here at the Ryman. Wheeler was in the middle of this 10 run, but that's the big thing that's going on in town is this once annual October. Jason Isbell thing. So Hoffman texts us back when I go, we're going to that tonight. And his last thing was like, what are you guys doing tomorrow and this weekend? And enjoy that libtard Isbell tonight.
Oh my God. And his crowd work was great. It's like, anybody here drive a tow truck? This guy here, you drive a tow truck? Guy drives a tow truck. You get a dump truck?
It's even worse.
This guy drives a dump truck.
No, and then before his final song, "Fuck You, Bitch," he's like, "Who wants to hear the greatest?" He goes, "Who wants to hear the greatest country song ever written?" And he's like, and everyone cheers, like, "All right, I'll play it for you."
So anyway, we're going to Jason Isbell tonight, and the museum was great today. I've never been to Nashville before. It's a great city.
We got to get you more bachelorettes. That's what you got to see now in this town. It's the bane of everybody's existence here who lives here. It's become the bachelorette party capital of the world. Didn't know there was a competition, but I guess it dethroned Vegas.
Yeah, and it's got those little bikes that you pedal your bar down the street. Those should be taken out with torpedoes. I would not shed a tear if one of those crashed into a bus.
Well, I think I told you before. One time I was trapped, literally, I'm not exaggerating at all, between 3 bachelorette parties that were active. Meanwhile, they're all over the streets in their cowboy boots and shorts and like dildos on their head. But it was a tractor, a John Deere, towing this flatbed that had a hot tub on it and like bars around it with all these bachelorettes on it. And it was a pedal bar, whatever those are called. And then another one was like a completely retrofitted school bus, pink school bus that they were all going crazy. And I just wish they would like pile up and hit each other.
Well, all for marriages that are probably going to fail. And bachelorette parties also, I used to do a bit about bachelorette parties about how like they see bachelor parties and they're like, that looks amazing. We should do that. But they can't because women ultimately can't party the way men do. They're not as debaucherous. It's kind of beneath, like this behavior is beneath them. So they try to kind of slum it for the night.
Yeah.
But it always falls short. By 8:15, they're sitting on the curb with their shoes in their hand. They had a fight. They all picked sides.
2 of them were on the phone back to their boyfriend or husband and they're in a fight.
Yeah, the bride leaves early
because
she's worried that the boyfriend's having a better time at his bachelor party, so she fucks that up.
But I mean, guys must swoop in here. All you have to do is go downtown, and there's all these women with impaired judgment.
Well, when I used to do shows at Dangerfields in New York, it was on First Avenue, just below 60th Street.
Yeah,
and that's where. What was the male strip club? Chippendales. Chippendales was across the street. And so you would see guys literally lined up outside because the women would come out and they would it was fishing in a barrel.
Oh, the prep cooking had already happened.
Yeah,
everything was ready.
All the gay dancers had already gotten the women worked up and wet.
Exactly. Speaking of which, we're going to be talking about divorce rates for women later in the show, with, specifically lesbians. Let's do a deep tease. What else?
We're going to talk a lot about
death now.
A lot of death, a lot of crime involving death.
We're doing this on the fly. It's going to be a little shorter than usual. Over an hour, though. Don't worry. Did you see the Michigan story that I crossed out?
Yeah.
We should probably not do that.
We could also not do the first one about, I don't know, are we going to dive into Israel-Palestine on Sunday papers? Are we doing that?
No, I like this story. Well, this is my way of doing it. I find stories that are on the periphery.
All right, Mike. I didn't realize that was your way.
That's my way.
Also, speaking of live performances, I just upgraded my special. I'm doing my 1 hour special. If people didn't hear, I have to reshoot it. There was some technical problems. And so I'm doing it at the Mothership in Austin.
Right.
Originally, I was going in for kind of a low budget package. And, like still a really good package of 5 cameras and all that. But then I talked to the producer, and he's the guy that shot everybody's specials. It's called 800 Pound Gorilla. And he talked me into going big, getting a big lighting package, extra camera. You know what else I'm getting?
What?
Teleprompter.
Oh, wow.
Because I never remember, I never do the same hour of material. When I go on stage, I do crowd work, I mix stuff up, I whatever. And so now it's like about doing an hour. And I don't want to be thinking about what joke is next. So I'm just going to get bullet points and scroll them across the teleprompter.
Yeah.
It's like you when you do stand-up with your little list.
I don't know why you call it little.
Well, it's
pretty substantial.
It is substantial.
No,
and
you're right. And I make the list and I kind of flesh it out because, as you know, like there's keywords in some jokes or, the sort of commentary. And then the more you get to know it, reduce it. And then it's like one word. And all, listen, I've produced a bazillion stand-ups doing their 5-minute sets on late night television. They all have the bullet points in the prompter.
I just thought of something that might be kind of brilliant.
Uh-oh.
What if, because it's just bullet points, I had a screen behind the stage and I had my set list up on the wall behind me?
Right.
Just as long as none of the bullet points give away the punchline.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, in post we could cross each one off as I do it.
You could. It's almost like Pardon the Interruption on ESPN where they have their lists.
Yeah.
And, we stole that in Tosh. And what we did in Tosh.0 is we would put symbols which kept you guessing, kind of like what you're saying. It wouldn't give it away, but it would be like a skier and, with an X through it or something if there was a bad wipeout. So we'd have these icons, and so you could tell kind of what was coming next.
Right.
Not tell, but you would be guessing.
I can't call it Set List because Paul Provenza has a show called Set List. I don't want to step on that.
Right.
But I need to call it something. Set List would be kind of perfect. Maybe I'll talk to Paul and he'll let me do it.
I would maybe do it if you wrote some things to it, like if there was a one thing up there and it was just like one line once in a while.
Yeah. Right.
You could do something like that.
Or back into a punchline. Put the punchline up.
Yeah.
And then do the joke and then just point at it. Yeah. All right, enough about that. That's going to be November 18th at the Mothership. Get your tickets now. And then we want to thank our logo from Ira Shana. Now, who is that? Is that Hall & Oates?
Yeah, and okay. Oates lives right here in town.
No.
I saw Oates at a pharmacy.
Was he the brains behind the operation? Was he the
weird.
Paul Simon of the group?
I think it's quite the opposite.
Oh.
Yeah. He's the blonde Garfunkel.
Okay.
And he's the brunette Garfunkel.
Okay.
Same hair almost. But I felt weird because I would be like, yo, Oates. Like, I'm just going to yell out Oates.
Who else was there? There was Sonny. Sonny was
obvious. I thought
obvious.
he lived in Colorado, but then I saw him here, and everyone's like, oh, no, he's here.
You think about where Hall or Oates live?
No, I saw like a thing on an airplane, and it was with Oates. Again, it's so weird. And Oates is on his farm, so it all gets weirder. And he was very into I think he had a bunch of animals. I think that's what, it was like, a CBS Sunday morning feature, some crap that I would only see on a airplane. And he was in the mountains. Maybe it was near here. I don't know. But anyway, he was definitely here when I saw him.
Well, there's your update on Oates, in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
Deep tease on that. Song this week came from David Dorsey. Very groovy, well-produced, kind of a techno-hip-hop thing.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Thank you, David. And by the way, I had some people come up to my shows recently and say, are you still looking for songs? Absolutely. Please, we fucking love that you guys send us songs. We love that we've been doing this for almost 3 years, and we have never repeated a theme song, thanks to you, as well as logos. We always need those. fitzdogradio@gmail.com. Send them in, and keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh.
Some corrections. Steven Satterberg, not Soderbergh, but Satterberg. On the last episodes, you couldn't remember the actress who had the best tits in Hollywood. We didn't say best tits in Hollywood. Her grandmother said that. It's Sydney Sweeney, and I encourage all of your listeners to pause the podcast and Google her name. She is breathtaking and the star of the Rolling Stones' new video.
She sure is. Now, when you Google Sydney, which I just did, Sidney Powell, very different scenario, is the first. She tried to overturn the 2020 election.
Oh. Was that Colin Powell's wife?
She is not a looker, no. But now, if you just type in an S, there is Sydney Sweeney, and okay.
Yeah, she's stunning, and she's a good actress.
She's a very good actress.
Or should we say she's a good actress and she's stunning? I think she'd prefer we said it like that.
Yeah.
Then a guy named Ryan in Chicago said, when Snoopy sits atop his doghouse and becomes an aviator, he is not the Red Baron. The Red Baron flew for the German Air Force in World War I and is the enemy in all the imaginary dog fights. No pun intended. Very nicely done.
Yeah.
Snoopy's alter ego is known simply as the Flying Ace. Of course.
You threw that Red Baron thing around a lot, and I didn't really think too much about it.
He also said the sole black character is named Franklin, not Leroy.
Oh, Greg.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not Dwayne.
Well, wait. What is South Park? Is it Token? No.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure we get this right so we can not have some corrections.
It is funny that all those old things like the our gang had buckwheat.
Yeah.
And what other tokens were there? Can we even say that?
Tolkien. But it turns out then his name, there was an episode where it's Tolkien, not Token.
No.
But anyway, that's his literal name. Anyway, all right, good correction.
Do you think that if Eddie Murphy was a fan of J.R. Tolkien, he'd be a token black?
That seems like a long way to go on that one.
Manolo Matta said, I forgot. Oh, no, there's one more. This one is subjective, but I don't think you'll find the Peanut strips as humorous as you remember them. The TV specials are one thing, but I'd argue the comics aren't much better than Family Circus.
That's what I
so
just
wrong.
said. That's what I said that last week. I totally agree.
I went, there's a town called Santa Rosa, California, where the Charles Schultz Museum is, and I spent 2 hours in there. And look, there's different kinds of fun. I fucking love Peanuts. I had my first books were Peanuts books. And they may not be, some are laugh out loud funny, but they're mostly just clever, heartfelt, humorous characters. It's great. It's great.
I get you were being traumatized by your dad. I get you needed a little safe, very unchallenging space.
I read the books.
Out.
I read the books in a doghouse in the backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
Manolo Mata said, I forgot to send this info to you the first time you mentioned the drag race show at the Grand Ole Opry. I listened to you mention it again. The drag show law is no more in Tennessee. And then he sent an article saying that it was overruled by the Supreme Court. So that's good because I really was thinking if I ever performed here, I would wear lipstick and a dress. Just because it's funny, but also...
just go out. You should go to the Isbell show like that. Did you see the rest of what he said right before his name there?
Take care and have fun at the Ryman this week. It's probably the best venue in the U.S. to see a concert. The sound is unbelievable there.
And you've already found out it's true.
A lot of comedians. I didn't realize how many comedians. I think your girlfriend was telling me that Fortune Feimster did one there.
She did, yeah. And Bobby and Cheeto.
Bobby Lee and Anthony Santino.
They did their podcast from there.
Really?
And they said it was their favorite stop on their tour.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. And then finally, this guy named Greg Reinheimer said, in reference to Mike's marathon running, he said, remember when you thought you couldn't go any further and then you went 5 miles further? The correct word is farther.
True. Distance, far. I'm surprised I said it, but yeah.
Chris Denman said that
But further into my soul and further into like finding that little something extra within me. I think it's further.
Right. Is that when you shit your pants?
That was farther. Yeah.
Chris Denman said that Sam Jay's new special is on HBO Max. It is just called Max now. Nope. Incorrect. HBO is still a shingle under the roof of Max, and she is specifically an HBO special that is airing on HBO Max or on Max.
So I used to work at HBO, and so obviously it was very confusing to everybody. Why? Really? Max? You're going with Max, and you're not taking this Tiffany of brand names, which is HBO.
Best name in entertainment.
I mean, the amount of Emmys. So anyway, it's because they are viewing it more as like a Netflix that has, like Netflix has Breaking Bad from AMC, like Hulu has all these FX shows, and FX is the really great brand in there. And also, if it was just HBO, it's going to be diluted with a lot of beneath HBO content.
Right.
From all the Turner networks and stuff like TBS is on there.
I heard from a writer during the strike that one of the main reasons is because HBO is considered a broadcaster, Max is considered a streamer, and there are different pay rates within the union for those two different entities. So they got rid of HBO, so going forward they don't have to pay as much residuals.
Tricky bastards.
Yep.
Should we have our backs to the beautiful window?
No, because you don't want light behind you when you're shooting with a camera.
No, there's no light, but okay.
Well, there was when we started. It was coming straight in there.
We started 4 hours ago. We've cut a lot out.
And I also said on last week's episode, talking about Peanuts, you said the filthy kid is a brilliant pianist who plays Beethoven. The filthy kid was Pigpen. He was just filthy. The kid who played piano was Schroeder. And the black kid wasn't Leroy. His name was Franklin.
I mean, how many words did you say that were right?
After saying how much Peanuts means to me.
I read every book as a kid, with Dirtbag and the piano player Ludwig. I
Reggie.
love them. They were like family. And the therapist Laura.
Dr. Laura. I have blocked a lot of my childhood out. But I won't be blocking out tonight. If you're listening on Sunday, Baltimore, Magoobies, October 22nd. Houston on November 3rd and 4th. Bakersfield on the 11th. Austin, as I mentioned, November 17th through 19th. San Francisco Punchline, November 30th through December 2nd. Fort Worth also coming up. Atlanta. And we just booked San Diego in February at the La Jolla Comedy Store. So that's it. Anything you want to talk about, Mike?
No. I mean, we do it in entertainment. No, not really. I was up too late last night watching Couples Therapy, which I talked about a couple of years ago. It's on Showtime. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm going to get into it because
it's real. It's reality. It's real therapy sessions.
Yeah.
And the woman is so insightful and calls. I wish I had a therapist like this who calls you out on your stuff and makes you stop. Wait. You have a story, but let's check your story. You know what I mean?
But the other thing that's probably very appealing for male viewers is that if you've ever been in couples therapy, which me and Aaron went for, I think 2 months when we hit a certain mark and we got through it pretty quick. You want to leave. And when you watch it on TV, you're in there and you can just fucking change the channel or shut it off.
That's not a good sign.
I mean, how much do you want to leave couples therapy in general for the average
Right.
guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were talking about it earlier today. 90% of the impetus for couples therapy is the woman.
We're going to find out later in this podcast that women generally aren't happy in relationships.
Oh, that's right. Good
Yeah.
tease. Let's talk about where people are happy, Mike.
Yeah, we're going to do it, baby. Woo, game time. Let's do it. No more frustrating
You do that, and I'm
ticket
gonna get
buying
some paper.
experiences. You go get paper. Oh, if you have a water, I'd take a water too. If you weren't sure if the seats were good, you couldn't find last-minute tickets, there were good deals. Game time. Let's go on it right now. Let's see what's in town here. Let's put it to Nashville. Look at Jason Isbell tonight. $286 a ticket. Now that's going to go down, but he's at the Ryman is incredibly small, and he's the hometown boy. For instance, the Jonas Brothers, they're only $46.
Oh, man.
Yep. And then let me go to outside of music. Let's go to some sports. We got the Predators, $39, and that's going to drop. That's Saturday night. Tennessee State football is at $67. Anyway, browse through the Game Time app. Check out everything that's going on. Last minute tickets. They have flash deals, zone deals. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. You can
Comedy, theater,
you have
sports.
views from all the seats in the venue and the lowest price guaranteed. You have event cancellation protection, job loss protection. I don't think it's going to keep your job for you, but if you lose a job, I think they're work with you on the tickets. Right?
Yeah, I think that you can get tickets to the Christmas party from the job that you were just fired from.
Is that what you can get
on
tickets
Game
from?
Time, yeah.
It's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PAPERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PAPERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
And if you don't go, you're going to be depressed, in which case you're going to need our next sponsor, the fine people at BetterHelp.com. This is a company that's close to my heart because during the pandemic, I got low. My brain started kind of getting in the way of trying to fall asleep. I talk about like racing thoughts. My thoughts were racing. The same 12 thoughts just took turns. They just stood in line and each ran at me. And I learned some cognitive behavioral therapy through Game Time, which is basically just...
Not Game Time, probably.
Did I say Game Time?
Yeah.
BetterHelp, baby,
Yeah.
with a P at the end. I learned some cognitive behavioral therapy and learned how to recognize the thoughts
Yeah.
and cut the legs out from under them. And so
I've told you that. Oh, you told me, and you called me out on that once. But I remember in therapy, the guy goes, so like, what are you feeling? And it was couples therapy, coincidentally. And I was like, angry. And he's like, okay, right? No, of course, right? Now, what do you think's like behind that? I'm like, frustration. And he's like, all right, but again, what's behind that frustration? I'm like, anger. And
Irish therapy.
I couldn't get to what the source. They say those are like surface emotions. Anyway, therapy is amazing. If you need help at all, or if you even think you do, you should absolutely seek help.
And you can do it online. You have to drive across town. You don't have to.
Entirely online.
It's
flexible,
all online. It's
suited
super
to your schedule.
Yeah, I've done it in my car driving home. It's real easy, and these are therapists that are matched to you based on. You do a questionnaire and they locate what areas you want to work on, and they find somebody who's an expert in that.
You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Male, female, see what you like. Some people don't know until they try it. I like a female.
I'll take either. I'll take anyone that can help me.
So make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Sunday, not Papers, Sunday, today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Papers. Now let's get to
/Sunday.
What did I say? Oh, Sunday. Okay.
No, you did it right the first time.
Okay,
Just
good.
read that last line again.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Sunday. Why can't we get the same hashtag for
I don't know.
all of our ads?
That's above our pay grade.
All right.
We got paper.
Oh.
Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
Okay, I like this story because it's very relatable. Israelis reservists thrust into unknown on front lines of war with Hamas. Most Israelis who have already done their mandatory military service remain in the reserves until age 40. Since October 7th, entire planes have been chartered to bring home reservists and other Israelis. Dreadlocks hang from under helmets. There are hipster beards, quirky glasses, oversized pants hanging down below the waist, and hiking shoes that are anything but regulation. Quote, "It's surreal to be here," said Amir, one of the more than 360,000 Israeli reservists called up to the war against Gaza-based Hamas militants. Amir, who did not give his last name, according to army orders, finished his military service in 2014, just after an Israeli war with militants in Gaza. He said meekly that he still has, quote, grief and trauma from the conflict, and despite undergoing annual training exercises, he didn't realize that 9 years later he'd be called to fight again. No one should have to find themselves in this situation, he said, holding his rifle. I still know how to use it, but I hope I don't have to, he sighed. And then one more. Aliyah, 24, is a female reservist, a medic who hasn't worn a uniform in 4 years. The French Israeli who works in a startup found out that she'd been called up for service while she was on a beach in Thailand.
Put your top on, come home.
She's like, even for us, it's terrifying. Of course, I'm asking myself what I'm doing here, but this is just how it is. It's our duty. So I'm like, meanwhile, she says it's our duty, like jury duty, because then you would be AWOL, we've just found out. Do you not want to talk about that?
Of course I'm not talking about that.
You don't go to jury duty that often.
All right.
But you get lucky. You got lucky.
I've gotten very lucky. I think they don't want my kind.
But a few weeks, maybe a month or two ago, I was talking about this entitled, the generations, including us, have gotten more entitled than the ones before. We are way more entitled than our parents. And the idea, I mean, it was always ask what you can do for your country. And if you were drafted, like generally everyone went. Of course, there were draft dodgers and people who came up with principled reasons not to join. But that was such a small fraction.
Yeah.
And anyway, now I think the draft would be almost comical in the U.S. Like they're all going and everything, but it's such a different culture there. And they've all had mandatory service.
Right.
Nothing like that.
Also, when you think about the wars that Americans have been asked to fight in the last 20 years, whether it's Iraq or Afghanistan, we don't have skin in the game. The Israelis are being, attacked as they are attacking as well. But I'm just saying it's personal.
That's a great point, because after 9/11, there was a surge in enrollment. Right. So you are right. You are right. When they stick it to you on your home turf or anywhere, when they stick it to you, you do feel stronger about fighting.
Yeah, but a reservist, I always thought that was the woman that answered the phone at a restaurant.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's a hostess.
No, you're the one reserving at that point. I get it, though.
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, I can't imagine, is there macchiatos here? Or at least Turkish coffee from the region? Nothing.
This canteen isn't holding the heat of my cafe latte.
Is this canteen whatever the big brand now is that my daughter, the $40 water holders that my daughters have? Excuse
me, sir. There's sand in my canteen. Well, yeah, we're in the desert.
Are these the only style goggles that this is it? Okay. Bring out your dead.
Okay.
A funeral home worker responsible for transporting dead bodies in a Nebraska county is suspected of having an intimate encounter with a life-size sex doll he found in the apartment of a deceased person according to court records. Investigators say Ryan Smith, 41, and a colleague were dispatched last week to a home in Omaha to collect the body of an individual who died there. Near the body on the bed was a very real life-sized sex doll, an investigator reported. Police allege that Smith subsequently called the property manager and claimed that the local sheriff had asked him to remove the sex doll to collect swabs for a biopsy. Smith's strange request was denied by the manager, who later returned to the apartment to discover that Smith was inside the unit.
Literally.
Does unit mean sex doll? And it had been locked with a deadbolt and chain.
Yeah.
That's quality time.
Yeah.
After Smith exited the home with his shirt untucked and his pants in disarray and in a great mood, the property manager called cops, who later busted Smith on a felony burglary charge. A post-arrest examination revealed the sex doll to be, quote, sticky, and it appeared that, quote, something had rubbed her inner thighs. A deputy collected the sex doll so that it could be processed for DNA.
Well, really, the key is don't leave evidence. That's the thing. Even if she's rubber, wear a rubber. And just imagine the sound. It would sound like Fast and the Furious. They would just be...
What does that sound?
Screeching tires.
Oh.
Rubber. Squealing.
Like a Tokyo Drift?
Yeah.
I got it. Well, they can't fire this guy. He's probably the only employee who's not sleeping with the corpses. I mean, what's the big deal on this story? It's like, it would be how much more disturbing if, like, the corpse had evidence of touching the inner thigh and was sticky.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He sublimated and he transferred. All healthy, I've heard, in couples therapy.
I think it was a very smart dead woman. I think the woman was like, oh, God, I think I'm going to be dying in my bed this week, and I don't want to be fucked while I'm dead.
Yeah.
So let me order a sex doll.
Yeah.
And put it right next to me in the bed.
Put some perfume on it, some lipstick, bent it over.
Why was it on the bed, by the way?
Well, here's the thing, and I'll be honest with you. If you leave a sex doll in a guy's apartment, he's fucking it. I don't care who it is. Even if it's a priest and it's a female sex doll, if you're alone with it, you're going to have your way with it.
Yeah. Was it? Oh, it just said deceased person. Yeah, so we don't know if it was a man or a woman. You're definitely betting man.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Maybe I did read somewhere. I'm going back through this. But anyway, yeah, it would probably have to be a man.
Yeah. All right, let's skip this next one and get to...
Women never need the whole body, huh?
Nope.
I've never thought about that before. Men even get a chopped off torso.
Although their first sex doll for a woman is a horse. A lot of women break their hymen on that horse. They got the arms around the...
We're in horse country.
Yeah.
Whores country.
Let's skip this next one and go right to this one.
All right.
A California serial killer
Keeping it light.
who murdered 2 family members and then 5 random strangers told authorities he killed his pedophile cellmate because he was a slob.
Justifiable.
Raymond Escobar. Ramon Escobar, who was the piano player in Peanuts, was charged with killing cellmate Juan Villanueva. Months after prison guards found the convicted child rapist dead in his cell. When an officer arrived to check on Villanueva, Escobar alleged, without being questioned, confessed out of the blue. Villanueva was sentenced to life in prison last year for sexually assaulting a child under 14 and arrived in February, just days before his slaying.
Yeah, you don't last long.
No, if you're a pedophile, especially, you don't last long. And then add being a slob to it. Keep your side of the cell neat. Don't give him a fucking excuse.
You're fucking me here on the toiletries shelf. And what am I, under 14?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That is an amazing thing that a guy who's a serial killer has this conscience. Like, there really is a pecking order in prison. Like, being a serial killer is maybe even respected or at least feared.
Well, I don't think it was an accident that they're like, what cell should we put the child fucker in? I got an idea.
Yeah. Right.
How about the guy who likes hospital corners on his sheets, and if they don't do it, he's killed 6 of them in a row.
The only mess he likes is blood after killing a fucking child molester.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, a North Carolina
Here,
family.
we're keeping it light.
Oh my
Every
God.
story.
Well, it's a Halloween episode.
Okay.
A North Carolina family is upset after their loved one's body was mistaken for a Halloween decoration and left outside for days. That's enough right there. No punchlines, nothing else.
Was there a sex doll right next to him?
Robert Owen's family discovered that a lawn care worker mowed around his near-naked body, thinking it was a prop. Days later, someone else made the gruesome discovery. Don't know how you can do that, said Owen's sister, Haley Shue. Mow right beside someone and assume that they're Halloween decorations.
Wait, so what did she want? Like, he should have done it. He should have mowed right over it.
Right. Yeah. Now we have to bury it or cremate it. He had the mower.
It was the mulch, built-in mulch.
Family members admit Owens was known to do drugs. They say, however, that doesn't explain how he ended up where he did. Police don't suspect foul play, but are investigating his death. Thought he was a Halloween decoration? Had he curled into a tight ball and turned orange? Did he have one of those dead boners sticking out of the top?
Well, now the Owens family figures they're going to put him on the roof with some reindeer and get through the holiday season. Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
First, we're going to put some feathers on him.
Yeah.
And
then after that, maybe a year-long thing and put him in a little jockey uniform with a lantern on the front lawn. Why not?
Just somebody heads up to the groundskeeper. It's a lawn jockey.
It's like a form of Weekend at Bernie's where it's just always a dead guy as some ornamental decoration.
I mean, it is pretty spooky when you think about like folklore in your neighborhood that you talk about on Halloween.
Yeah.
How about the dead guy on the abandoned lawn?
That's the best haunted house in town.
Are you going to ring that doorbell?
Right. They should have him there with a bucket full of candy just sitting there out front. Just take one.
Yeah, you pick out a Tootsie Roll. It's his finger.
Scared kids like, go, parents, just go. No.
Here's your story.
Lesbian on our way. The divorce rate for lesbians is the highest among all marriages. The lesbian divorce rate was 78% in 2016, 74% in 2017, then back up to 75% in 2018. According to one family law professional, the factors that lead lesbians to divorce are the very same ones that lead women in the heterosexual marriages to petition for divorce at a rate about twice as high as men. These factors include feeling ignored in a marriage, unequal relationship with one partner pulling the weight in the marriage, and then there's adultery and domestic violence.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is it's a same-sex marriage, which, you know, when you don't have a penis, is the same sex, same sex, same sex. I mean...
It's same sex? Right out of the gate?
There's no penis. So
right out of the gate?
How many positions are there? You scissor
There's
it, you
a lot of
69 it, and you call it a
positions.
night.
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody
I think
had this joke about the 69 position. He's like, what's the rush?
Right, I did see that. I think the problem is everyone in these marriages is married to a woman. I mean, it's that simple. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like Bill Burr talked about it a little bit. He's like, I have more in common with a lesbian than I thought because she has to go home to a woman. No wonder she's out walking in a bad mood like I am.
Right. Both people going, I think we need to talk more about this.
I know, but I did see someone, I came across it on social media, but someone, I don't know if it was a therapist, but was like, this might point out that to women that maybe some of this is on us. In other words, if the complaint is feeling ignored and we've blamed men for that and stereotypically, the men who are from Mars for that, and now though you're married to a woman and it's happening and it's the number one stated reason And it's a I mean, it's a higher divorce rate than when you're, married to men. That maybe it's the dynamic and your needs that have to be looked at.
Yeah, it's not.
Is the bar too high?
Right. It's not yeah. I think the other thing that works against lesbian marriage is having to go to WNBA games, because you bring that shit home with you. Even when you win, it's like, yeah, but we scored 13 points.
And it kills the gay guys who are married because they're paying like 6 times as much to go to NBA games.
Right.
And they're like so envious of these lesbians paying $3.
Game time.
Get
it now. Speaking of great companies we like to talk about, Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. The most exciting and easiest way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including, a lot of these, there's pros and sharks that go in there and then your odds go down. Instead, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections.
Yep.
And watch the winnings roll in, Mike.
It's really simple to play. You make your picks, submit the entry in less than 60 seconds. That's what I love about it.
And it's fun. You win 25 times your money this football season, and you just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry.
It's great. I like it. Share your must go to prizepicks.com/papers and use code PAPERS for a first deposit match up to $100.
Wait, first before you read that, I just want to say I have done this, and I won the 25 times the money, and I didn't know how that worked until I got 25 times the money.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, and if you like sports, it's fun to watch. But when you're using Prize Picks, you just get that much more into watching the game.
Yeah, you make your entries on the daily fantasy. It's great. All right, back to the call to action here. Go to prizepicks.com/papers and use code PAPERS for a first deposit match up to $100. It's highly, here we go. Where's the rest of it? Do we have to spell out papers? This is my first time reading this. Go to prizepicks.com/PAPERS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Daily fantasy. Place your entries, player projections. It's great.
Okay.
Are we making America Florida?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make America Florida.
Are you crinkling? What happened to you?
Oh, not doing a lot of crinkling so far.
Darrell Davidson was arrested and charged with criminal mischief after an incident that unfolded on Friday. The 39-year-old man was reportedly yelling and belligerent outside a woman's home. That's when he tried to get inside by kicking the door open. Davidson entered the woman's home and sat on her couch, deputies said.
Wait a minute.
He didn't try to commit any crimes while inside, but he did ask for water and something to smoke. The man was taken into custody at his home nearby. Deputies say he spontaneously kicked the woman's door in because he was trying to warn her that she was in danger. Maybe it was like, listen, you are in danger. Somebody just kicked your door in, and they are incredibly threatening and thirsty. Whew, I got to take a load off. I'm just going to sit down here, but you need to know this. It's going to be very disruptive.
I mean, we got to start taking America's water shortage more seriously. People are getting desperate.
There's so much water in Florida. I don't know what this guy's problem is.
I mean, how do you react to this? Do you get the water first, or you call the police first?
I'm getting a full-blown lunatic his glass of water.
Yeah, get the glass
for
of water.
Sure.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe a way to put some Ambien in it, like 10 of them.
Let's go over to Australia.
We're going to make Australia Florida. Once again, an Australian has gone viral for fighting with a muscled marsupial, and once again, it was to save his dog. Quote, "I'm going to punch your fucking head in," the man tells the kangaroo, which presumably does not speak Australian English. "Let my dog go." Then the dog's owner acts to save his best friend, appearing to strike out at the kangaroo. The response was swift. Muscles quickly twitch, and in a flash of sinew and claw, the video cuts to black as the phone goes underwater. Muffled sounds of combat are heard before the kangaroo is seen again, seemingly unbothered, but without his canine prey.
What, did Raymond Chandler write this article?
I would say the kangaroo was nonplussed.
Yes.
The man laughs, and the camera briefly shows his dog safe on the riverbank. Yeah. I wonder how dogs react to seeing their owners punch an animal in the face. Like, you'd be out on a walk, like, take a shit now, or I'm going to punch you in the fucking face.
Yeah. It's like putting a dog down in front of your kid. Behave, motherfucker. And the dog was pissed because the guy just walked in on what was happening. The dog was about to fuck the kangaroo.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he had an erection.
God,
Kangaroo was like, thank God you broke this up. Imagine fucking a kangaroo. Jesus.
No. Or a dog, for that matter.
Let's get all international on it.
All right.
Going around the world. A 21-year-old computer scientist named Luke Farrator just became the first person in nearly 2,000 years to read words from a papyrus scroll that was buried under more than 60 feet of volcanic ash in the disastrous eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE. What's CE? Is that the new AD?
It's the same as AD.
Okay. A town that was, we know what it was. The scrolls were found in 1752, and they belonged, ready for this?
Yeah.
To Julius Caesar's father-in-law.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They decoded the message. It said, my nephew's a fucking douche. Guy,
Oh, wait, is it son-in-law?
It's his father-in-law. His
But-
father-in-law's,
What's the nephew, though?
well, his nephew, my son-in-law. Jesus.
Joke police.
You get it. You get it. The other joke was, they deciphered it and said, guys, if you want to really get ripped abs, let me tell you 5 secrets you've been dying to know.
They're not sure these are legitimate, though, because the date said 79 AD's nuts.
No.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Everybody,
weird.
everything old is new.
I know. I mean, it's an old joke, apparently, D's
Yeah.
nuts.
Well, here's an old, very old joke.
And that's why I think of the Roman Empire all the time. They were
Yeah,
ahead
I
on so
know.
many. They
I
were
know.
ahead on D's nuts. They
Yeah.
predicted that.
Right.
Yeah. All right. What do we got?
The Caesar haircut, the salad.
Oh, yeah.
This day in history.
All right.
In a televised speech of
yeah.
extraordinary gravity, President JFK announces on October 22nd, 1962, that U.S. spy planes have discovered Soviet missiles in Cuba. These missile sites, under construction but nearing completion, housed medium-range missiles capable of striking a number of major cities,
Yeah.
including D.C. Kennedy announced that he was ordering a naval quarantine of Cuba to prevent Soviet ships from transporting any more offensive weapons to the island, and explained that the U.S. would not tolerate the existence of the missile sites in place. The president made it clear that America would not stop short of military action
This was crazy.
to end what he called a clandestine, reckless, and provocative threat to world peace. I mean, it's pretty amazing that this guy, who was a young president, who was not in office that long, to take on a world power, and apparently, like, there was back channels going on. We don't even realize what he really did, which was he back channeled talks to Khrushchev.
Totally.
There was a lot going on
Yeah.
that America never knew about.
Which was amazing. I forget what book came out where that was, or I forget how it was released, but it's in the last 5-10 years. I
Yeah,
think.
right.
Yeah.
So he stood him down, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it kind of saved his ass because he had just fucked up the Bay of Pigs,
Right.
and
But this was tense, man. This was like a real sort of face-off.
yeah. So Khrushchev backed down, and we're here today.
I look forward to the clandestine corrections next week.
What did I say?
Clandestine, I think.
No, I didn't.
Something like clandestine. St. Augustine?
Speaking of
St.
which, let's go letters to the editor.
Let's do it.
Ryan Maloney, a good Irishman from Erie, Colorado, says, two things.
Oh.
Wanted to share a picture of me and my family at an Avs preseason game. We scored tickets in the 11th row on the shoot twice side for under $50
Come
on game time.
Look at this. This isn't even part of our read.
No. Second, another listener who has written in the past has recently got engaged. If you could congratulate Dan and Carrie from Nederland, Colorado on their engagement, I certainly would appreciate it. He listens to the show every Sunday in the shower before he gets the day going.
Nice. Is it Nederland?
Is it the day going or the gay doing?
The gay doing.
Yeah,
I think you inverted it.
Yeah, so be careful to
lather up,
carry.
buddy. Is he going to make it? How long are his showers? He's never going to make it to letters to the editor. He's going to be late for work.
Yeah, I know. And what kind of a speaker does he have in the shower?
Well, they're engaged. Listen, just don't go lesbian on us and get divorced like 3/4 of the other lesbians.
Yeah, keep your stats closer to 50% instead of 75.
Keep it healthy.
Speaking of unhealthy, obituary time.
Oh, boy.
And that's all, folks.
That's not a good segue.
Suzanne Summers was not healthy. She was an actress best known for her star as Chrissy Snow in the sitcom Three's Company. She helped make it one of the biggest TV hits of the 70s. And she played the bubbly blonde Chrissy. Let me tell you something. She was so sexy because she was like Jenny McCarthy. She was like silly and fun, seemed like a good hang, and happened to have the greatest rack on television. And not a fan of bras. Whenever she did, when she was out in the wild, she was braless.
Out in the wild. I don't think it's in this obituary. I didn't read it, but she, I think, was discovered in the NBC commissary by Johnny Carson.
Really?
Yep. I think she was there as background actress for something or other, and then he discovered her, I think.
Define discovered.
I had sex with her. No, I don't know, but
he discovered her mouth on his cock.
I have no idea what went on, but I do recall, maybe we'll Google that. I do recall that I think he was part of her rise. Maybe he got her an audition or something like that. I'm going to Google it as you keep reading.
But she played the dumb blonde, but in fact, she was actually a very intelligent woman. She was fired from Three's Company in the 5th season when she demanded a large pay raise so her compensation would match Ritter's. They refused, and she was replaced by another blonde roommate. This was not the end of her career. She starred in Hollywood Wives. Then she had her own sitcom, She's the Sheriff, in '87. The widely panned show featured Summers as a woman who was appointed sheriff. Oof. Yeah, that sounds...
What, her other sitcom?
She was in American Graffiti.
I think it was terrible.
In 1973. Right! In American Graffiti, which I just watched with the kids recently.
What are you kidding me?
She was the woman that he was following all
Yes,
night.
she drove the whole thing.
Right. She was the driving force. You realize that movie was 24 hours? Or not even 20. It was one night. It was one night in a town. I can't remember what town it was. It was a small city.
What are we talking about?
American Graffiti.
It's not Burbank or...
I think you're right. It was somewhere in California. It might have been
Well,
Burbank.
I mean, Bob's Big Boy is featured in it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that's because it's shot there or whatever.
Right.
All right, here's the story I found on her Discovery. One fateful day in 1974, Suzanne Summers was discovered just 1 week after moving to Hollywood. The unforgettable moment took place on the iconic Carson Tonight Show. During the show, Carson introduced Suzanne Summers, who had recently caught his attention while working on another show in the NBC building. Wait, she was on a show within a week of moving to L.A.?
Well,
None of this is making sense.
That's what happens.
Suzanne, known for her beauty and talent, had also written a book of poems. Her multifaceted talents intrigued Carson, and he wanted his audience to have the opportunity to meet this young and promising star. As she made her first appearance on the show, she couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. Blah, blah. God, they're stretching this out.
Well, in the 90s, she was, you remember, she had the Thigh Master.
He spotted her in the NBC commissary enjoying a meal while simultaneously taking in some whatever. I hate this article. But anyway, there was something to that. Yeah, Thigh Master. I remember those ads.
Thigh Master, I mean, she made a lot. She probably made more money with shucking the Thigh Master than she did on those sitcoms.
Well, I mean, it's almost like the George Foreman grill.
Right.
Like he just lent his name to that. And then, of course, he was a spokesperson. But
that machine stopped more date rape in the 90s than coffee.
we're keeping her legs together?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another sad obituary we learned about today was Burt Young, who played Paulie in the Rocky movies.
Adrian's brother.
One of the best character actors, Queens-bred actor. Let's see. He was a Hollywood tough guy in films like Chinatown, Once Upon a Time in America. Rocky was in The Sopranos. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Rocky, but Burgess Meredith was also nominated in the same category, supporting actor. So that never works out. They split the votes.
Right.
I don't think Burgess won. I'm almost certain he did. Paulie was so great and so real.
Didn't he have like 180 acting credits on IMDb or something?
Yeah, we looked him up today because we were like, what else was he in? And
he was in Chinatown. Did you say that already?
Yeah. But we found the list and it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of big hit things.
Yeah.
Speaking of hit things, let's get to the funnies.
Yes, sir.
As this paper loses all its crinkliness.
Just in time.
We got Leroy is leaning over Loretta's shoulder. She's on the laptop. They look sad. He goes, how is it the neighbor's dog's Instagram account has more followers than we do?
You know what? That one's too true.
It just seems weird that these two, with all their financial problems, marital problems, are worried about their Instagram feed.
It looks like he's about to strangle her. Maybe that's what's going on.
That will get
He's distracting her, pretending to be care about this dog's Instagram.
That'll get him some likes. And now my favorite ones are when Leroy is at a cocktail party dancing like a fool. See the bottom right one?
Yeah, he's like a lame.
He's got his tie is flopping. Loretta's standing there with her hands on her hips, very angry. And he says to the blonde, buxom woman he's dancing with, which they never explain why these 10s are dancing with Leroy, and they seem happy.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's my wife, Loretta, commissioner of the fun police. Not only is he making an ass of himself, desecrating his marriage vows, he's insulting her right in front of this woman. That's going to be a long car ride home.
And right in front of the commissioner of the fun police also. She's within earshot.
Hager comes home with a bag of loot and his son. They both have horns in their helmets. And it's 2 generations of Vikings.
Product of rape. Go ahead.
Helga does not look happy. And he goes, look at this haul, Helga. And she goes, you took our son on a raid? And then they open the bag and it's filled with toys. And he goes, we got lucky at the carnival. But at some point, Hager will take his son on a raid. It's the family business.
He's gonna understand what lucky mean, the real word lucky to a Viking.
Lucky is not being in the castle.
Yeah, forget getting lucky at a carnival. You're gonna get lucky in Sweden. You're gonna get lucky in England. You're gonna get lucky in Ireland.
You're gonna be lucky if they find all the handmaidens and they get exhausted sexually before they find you.
Yeah.
Let's do Far Side.
Far Side. Here we go. So, it's a picture. The door's been opened and a werewolf has come through the door, and you can see him like with ripped clothes, kind of like the Hulk. He's expanded out of his human wear. And then there's a homeowner who's shooting a gun, blam, blam. And then, let me see, how should I do this? So, here's what it says. Moments before he was ripped to shreds, Edgar vaguely recalled having seen that same obnoxious tie earlier in the day. It's this polka dot tie. And the thought bubble is, it's Edgar at the gun shop, and there's a guy sitting there with the same tie, and it's a man. And he's like, oh, yes, I guarantee these bullets are pure silver.
He was playing the long game on that one.
Long game is right. What a true predator.
Yeah. Speaking of predators, Dagwood is answering the phone in a red sweater and shoes that look like they're 3 sizes too big. And somebody says, is this Dagwood Bumstead? He goes, this is Dagwood Bumstead. And then you hear, wait, seriously? This is just a prank call. What are the unbelievable odds your name is almost as funny as what I totally made up? And now Dagwood walks into the kitchen, looks a little glum. Where's Blondie? At the fucking stove with an apron on like a slave. And she goes, who was it, dear? And he goes, someone who should probably just go buy a lottery ticket. I mean, I never really thought about his name.
It's a little meta, this. It's a little like...
Well, this comes off the heels. Remember last week where she asked if he was the real Dagwood Bumstead?
Yeah. Is there a big identity thing? Is this all of a sudden a Black Mirror?
I think we're going to find out
a Blondie mirror?
That Blondie has been asleep for this entire strip, having a horrible nightmare of unrequited love and unsexual deadbeat sleeping on the couch who she cooks for. And now she's going to wake up and realize she's alive. There's hope.
Yeah, maybe she wished in a previous kind of life, she wished for like, I just need a timeout. I want a man who doesn't want to have sex with me, who isn't like, even if my tits slapped him in the face, he wouldn't even wake up.
Yeah.
He just wants to eat big sandwiches all day. I just want that because I just divorced an animal.
Yeah.
And then she's in this life and she's forgot. It was like a genie wish and she's forgotten all about it. Watch what you wish for.
If I had any advice for anybody, and I'll give this to the shout out of the young couple that's engaged that we just gave wishes to, is if you're a guy, if you don't have a drinking problem, drink more, even if you don't want it. And then when you really fuck up in the marriage, just go, honey, I'll get help. And then you go get sober, and she's got to take you back.
Oh yeah, create a one step on the way. Right. Yeah, I like that a lot.
All right, you know what else I like a lot is our sponsors. We want to remind you guys, don't forget, go to Game Time to get your tickets. Go to BetterHelp to get your mental health. And if you want to engage in, I want to say it right because it's specific how you should say.
Clandestine?
If you want to say clandestine, Leroy. If you want to do, maybe clean this up and edit. If you want to do daily fantasy sports, then you're going to go to Prize Picks. Okay. Thank you to Midcoast Media for being here with us day in and day out, supporting this podcast.
Yep.
And thank you to your girlfriend for hosting me this weekend.
Yeah, look at you. You brought an eye mask because it's a pretty light room. Oh, look at the moon you got tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, we're off to see Jason Isbell.
Let's do it, man. Let's hit the Ryman.
See you guys later.
Do you think that woman with the giant jugs is going to run down the aisle tonight? Is that part of the Ryman every night, no matter what the show is?
That would be amazing. Like Price is Right. Every night somebody runs down the aisle.
Or like Big Ben, you know when it's going to go off. It's like, right before Encores, this woman runs down the aisle of the Ryman.
The unknown comic on The Gong Show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, everybody. I think you should take it eesh.
Take it eesh.
Woo!
In 7, 8, 9. Read all about it. 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 Read all about it.
Did we start? That's the start?